Syrian authorities say they have arrested 21 people allegedly linked to the regime of ousted President Bashar al-Assad in the coastal province of Latakia. A nighttime curfew is in force in Latakia City after a series of attacks against Alawite-majority neighbourhoods. The city has seen days of protests triggered by the bombing of an Alawite mosque. The community has been the target of numerous attacks since Assad was ousted. Zedoun Alzoubi is a governance and peacebuilding expert and head of the Lugaret Institute, advising on conflict resolution in Syria. Welcome to DW. Zedoun, it's been a little over a year since the Assad regime fell. When you look at the protests and the curfew along the coast this week, what does it tell you about where the transition stands today?
Well, I don't think anyone has expected to have an easy transition in a country like Syria, torn with civil war for 14 years, and burdened with all the corruption and massacres committed by Assad. However, this doesn't mean that we have to rest to the fact that the Alawite community is the weakest community in the country, is very much subject to atrocities by various parties, especially when you talk about mainly actually the community conflict, the inter-community conflict between Sunnis and Alawites. In the last few visits to Latakia and the coastal areas, I could see that the government is trying more and more to be more, to behave like a state and to protect the communities. But unfortunately, the amount of hatred is sky high, and every day the Alawite community is witnessing atrocities, killing, kidnapping, etc.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I can say. We have to acknowledge that Syria, within all these minorities we have in the country, I think the Alawite community is the one that is really facing the most dangerous situation. The Alawite community does not have any regional power supporting it, like many other minorities, especially if we think of the Druze community in the south.
Right.
And the Alawite community does not have social representation, does not have elite, because Assad has really committed crimes just to prevent the community from having any sort of representation. The Alawite community does not have a well-organized and strong diaspora community to support them economically, etc., which means the Alawite community does not have any sort of support or defense except the state itself. And now the state has to adjust and has to show that it is willing to support every community in the country. And as I said, recently it has really improved, but it's not enough. The community is witnessing huge stress, anger, and scare. If we do not support the Alawite community, then the entire country might destabilize.
Now, can we just back up a little bit? We've been talking about them, but could you put some context into how large this group is within the country of Syria? And there must be, of course, there's the resentment given that their history, recent history, and whether you see a way out. What would you suggest if you were in charge in terms of trying to bring down the temperature of this sort of resentment and attacks on this community?
Well, we're talking about the second largest community in the country. We're talking about 3 million people, mainly in the coastal areas and east, central Syria and Homs, and also in Damascus. So it's a large minority, if you like, and that's number one. Number two, there is this false perception that the Alawite community is the one that committed atrocities against the Sunni communities. It's not correct. It is the Alawite community was exploited by Assad to commit all what he has committed against the dictator. Actually exploited the sect he belonged to attack the Sunni community. But unfortunately, because the majority of the leadership in the security forces were from the Alawite community, the perception within the country that it is the Alawite community who has done this, which is totally untrue. And if you want to First of all, we need to build a new narrative to explain to the public, and this requires a huge media campaign, media strategy that explains that this is not a community that has committed atrocities. It is Assad who has done it. They were actually empowered by Assad. They were exploited by Assad. They were put I mean, as a shield to Assad. And the second thing that I can think of is now the majority of the Alawite community are without jobs. They were in security forces, they were in the army, and then the army is dissolved. We are talking about hundreds of thousands of people who are jobless now.
Right.
And without an economic support to the community, and without supporting Syrian civil society as well as the Syrian government to provide more economic and economic support to the coastal areas, then I don't think we will stabilize.
Peace building expert Zedoun Alzoubi, thank you very much for these insights.
Thank you so much. Thank you.